Admiral Zexathara's mandibles clicked with satisfaction as his flagship Dominion's fist emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Behind him, 1,000 vessels of the Hegemony's Third Fleet materialized in perfect formation, dreadnoughts, bristling with plasma cannons, carrier ships loaded with fighter squadrons and destroyer escorts that had brought 100 worlds to their knees. Another primitive species to enlighten, he muttered, his four eyes focusing on the tactical display. The third planet glowed blue and green, unmarked by the orbital defense platforms that more advanced civilizations possessed. These humans will learn the glory of serving the hegemony, just as all others have. The communication officers crest flattened nervously. Admiral, we're receiving no response to our hails. Standard protocol suggests. I know the protocol, Zexathara snapped. Send the ultimatum, all frequencies, all languages we've cataloged from their transmissions. The message that followed had been refined over 3,000 years of conquest. Surrender unconditionally, submit to hegemony rule, provide tribute of resources and 10% of the population for military service. Resistance would result in orbital bombardment and total subjugation. They waited and waited. Hours passed. The human homeworld spun silently below them, its cities twinkling with lights, its orbital traffic continuing as if a massive alien fleet hadn't just appeared in their system. Ships launched from the surface. Satellites adjusted their orbits. Everything proceeded with an eerie normalcy. Sir, the communication officer's voice had risen an octave. Still no response. Not even an acknowledgement that they've received our transmission. Zexathara's tail lashed. In 3 millennia of expansion, no species had simply ignored them. Fear, defiance, desperate negotiations, these were the expected reactions. But silence. This was unprecedented. Launch reconnaissance drones. I want full scans of their planetary defenses. The drones returned with puzzling data. Earth possessed no orbital weapons platforms, no planetary shield generators, no visible military installations of significant scale. Their technology appeared centuries behind the hegemonies. Their largest weapons were crude nuclear devices that wouldn't even scratch a hegemony frigate's hull. And yet, they continued to ignore the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Days turned into weeks. The Third Fleet maintained its position, growing increasingly agitated. Crew efficiency dropped as the inexplicable silence gnawed at their confidence. Some junior officers began whispering about ancient legends, stories, of species so advanced they appeared primitive, of warriors who fought battles on levels beyond physical reality, perhaps, suggested Sub-Admiral Kethvar during a strategy meeting. They simply don't understand the gravity of their situation? Zexathara had considered this, but their intelligence indicated humans understood multiple languages, had achieved interplanetary travel, and possessed sophisticated communication networks. They had to know what was happening. On the 31st day, something changed. Admiral! The sensor operator's voice cracked with strain. We're detecting massive energy buildups across the planet's surface. Thousands of locations, all activating simultaneously. The main display shifted to show Earth's continents, now dotted with pulsing red indicators. Deep underground installations were powering up, revealing themselves for the first time. The energy signatures were unlike anything in the hegemony's databases. Sir, they're not weapons, the science officer reported, his scales pale with confusion. They appear to be communication arrays, but the power output is enormous. Each installation is generating more energy than our entire fleet. Zexathara leaned forward. Communication arrays? To contact whom? His question was answered minutes later when space itself began to ripple around the Sol system. Reality warped, twisted, and suddenly the Third Fleet found itself surrounded. Ships materialized, not dozens or hundreds, but millions. Vessels of impossible design filled every cubic kilometer of space around them. Some were larger than moons, others smaller than fighters, but all shared one characteristic. They were utterly silent on all frequencies, their hulls absorbing electromagnetic radiation like cosmic void. "Admiral," the communication officer whispered. "I'm reading quantum entanglement signatures from the new arrivals. They're not from this galaxy. Sir, some of these readings suggest they're not even from this universe." Through the viewports, Zexathara could see human faces looking back at him. These weren't the primitive inhabitants of the third planet below. These humans wore uniforms that seemed to bend light itself, stood in ships that defied known physics, and their eyes held the weight of eons. A single transmission finally reached the Dominion's fist. Not through their communication systems, but appearing directly in the minds of every crew member, spoken in perfect hegemony standard. "We are the Terran diaspora, the children of Earth who spread to distant galaxies when our sun was young. We heard your ultimatum to our birth world." The voice carried impossible harmonics, as if spoken by billions of souls in perfect unison. You demanded submission. You threatened our home. You offered violence to those who gave us life. Around the Third Fleet, the alien human vessels began to move, not toward them but past them, taking positions between the hegemony fleet and Earth. They formed a sphere of protection with the planet at its center, their ships positioned with mathematical precision. We considered responding with force. Our weapons could erase your empire from existence. Our technology could rewrite the fundamental constants of your reality. We could make your species' entire history nothing more than a half-remembered dream. Zexathara felt his blood turn to ice. Every sensor reading confirmed the impossible truth. Any one of those ships possessed enough firepower to sterilize the entire hegemony. But we are not conquerors. We are explorers, builders, protectors. So instead, we offer you this gift: perspective. The space around the Third Fleet shifted again. When reality stabilized, they found themselves at the edge of the galaxy, facing the infinite void beyond. Before them stretched a sight that broke the minds of veteran spacers, a cosmic structure of impossible scale, built around dead stars and spanning light years. Cities that dwarfed solar systems. Art projects that used nebulae as canvas. The work of a civilization that had transcended every limitation the hegemony thought absolute. This is what humanity builds when given time. And peace, the voice continued. This is what we create when we are not forced to destroy. Your empire spans 1,000 worlds and believes itself mighty. We span 1,000 galaxies and consider ourselves students. The final message came with coordinates, a path home through space that would take the Third Fleet away from human territory forever. Return to your worlds. Tell them what you have seen. Learn that true power lies not in the ability to conquer, but in the wisdom to choose protection over domination. As the alien human ships vanished as suddenly as they had appeared, Zexathara stared at the impossible vista before him. In the distance, structures larger than star systems continued their ancient work, tending to gardens of light that had been growing since before his species had discovered fire. The Third Fleet turned around and began the long journey home. Carrying word of the day, the hegemony learned that some silences were more terrifying than any scream of defiance. Behind them, Earth continued its quiet orbit, its children watching from the spaces between stars.